So can you just go back to the memory lane and tell us how engineering, why engineering, then why MBA, and why IIM?
I didn't have a lot of friends outside school, so again, saying Jamia was a big part of my life growing up. One advice on ACADS is that that is your priority. Make sure that you learn, even if you're not getting a 9.8, 9, learn do what you're supposed to do. And I think you would still have a lot more time to do a lot.
First of all, thank you, Sharique, for joining me today, and welcome to Decoding with Nihal. I'm sure that your wisdom will really help people understand why to do MBA and why not to do MBA, and where to do it from, and other guidance that you may have to offer. Right.
Thanks, Nihal, for having me. I'm also excited about this.
Right. So, Sharique Chishti, we are talking about you. I can go on and on and on and on about your achievements, about your engineering, MBA from IIMs, right? But I would like to give you the opportunity to describe yourself. Please introduce yourself to the audience, Mr. Sharique Chishti.
That's a big one. So all of us are, used to giving this answer for our interviewers and all. But to give this answer to the people back in Jamia who are listening to me, so I would start that I was just like you when I had joined Jamia with a lot of apprehensions, a lot of dreams. I did not know what is going to be in the future. But I think it's been 17 years since I joined Jamia Engineering, and life has been good. After engineering, I joined IIM Calcutta straight from Jamia. I spent a couple of years there, and then life has taken me all over the place. After that, what I would say about me that I'm really proud of, and that's defined me, that I'm always open to new things and new experiences. So I'll come back to my professional life, but life has taken me to more than 50 countries in last 10 years.
That's amazing. That's something to flex about.
I've been to countries like Iran, Uzbekistan, Bolivia, and Antarctica.
Oh,
so
great.
That's how I would like to define myself. I love to read. I love watching movies. I'm a big soccer fan as well. So that's how I would like to be known as a person.
Perfect. That's amazing.
Yeah, but if you want to follow my professional journey, after IIM Calcutta, I joined Dabur as a management. I worked in a bunch of places like Assam, Kashmir, UP, Delhi. Then I got an opportunity to work for one of their acquisitions in the US. I was there for 4 years, working for a very niche African American hair care space. So I was setting up sales and distribution network for this very small company that Dabur had acquired. I spent 4 years in Chicago. Then I quit my job, traveled for a year around the world, came back to India. I was figuring out what to do. In the meanwhile, and another opportunity with Dabur came up. So I joined Dabur again for 2 years. And those 2 years were also the 2 years which were coincided with COVID. So I stayed put with Dabur, and once the first opportunity came, I joined Udaan, which is an E2B startup. I had always wanted to, try something different, because after 10 years in the same organization, I had become very, very comfortable. So I wanted to get out of my comfort zone and try something different. So yeah, it's been a great journey, and looking forward to the next phase of life.
So this journey, I'm sure this has been a very adventurous one. But what I am interested in, and in fact, people who will watch this, they will be interested in knowing the Sharique who made it. The Sharique before engineering, before IIM. So can you just go back to the memory lane and tell us how engineering, why engineering, then why MBA, and why IIM? So if you could, just bring us to that.
So I think I'll have to start even before me. So my parents come from a very two small cities from Eastern UP. They, like a lot of people coming from different parts of the country, to Delhi, trying to make a life for themselves and their families. So they were two of those people. They set up their family near Jamia in Jamia Nagar. So Jamia, the neighborhood and the university is much bigger part of my life than a lot of you who would be listening. So I literally grew up, next to Jamia. I spent the first, 2.5 decades of my life living next to Jamia. I also went to Jamia school, which is part of the university. At that point in time, my parents thought that it would be good to have somewhere, good to have a school closer to house, so that it will be easier for us. In school, I would say that I was studious kid, but I was also very closeted. I was a kid who would go from home to school back to home. I didn't have a lot of friends outside school. So again, saying Jamia was a big part of my life growing up. And I think as a lot of kids in the 90s growing up, there were not a lot of options. Yeah, while most of us thought that we are going to be an astronaut, or maybe we are going to be a cricketer or footballer, but engineering and medical were mostly two fields that your parents condition you to be.
It still goes on. It still goes on. It's still
Okay.
going on. Still going on.
So I think by the 6th or 8th class, I was already conditioned to pick up either MBBS or engineering, and I thought that I'm better at maths. I liked coding back then. Also, I started coding in C++. So I thought that I'm gonna pick up engineering. I started preparing for it. Like everyone else, I joined FitG. I missed some of the bigger colleges like IIT and NITs by a few, like by a whisker. But then again, I had few options. Jamia was closer to home. I was getting computer science. So I opted it. So I think the decision to do engineering was already taken for me. And I think coming from the kind of background a lot of us come from, financial stability is of paramount importance. So I think that was done. But engineering, especially the faculty of engineering, gave me opportunity to really come into my own. I had not expected myself to be the sort of person that I became. It gave me opportunity to be part of different organizations like IEEE, CSI. I organized a lot of fest. I won a lot of quizzes and other different kind of aptitude competitions. At the end of first year, I was joint secretary CSI. At the end of second year, I was vice president of CSI, which is I was told that I'm the youngest to become vice president of that society. So I think those 4 years were a lot of fun. We played cricket, intra university, intra football, cricket, TT. I made bunch of friends who are still my friends. We talk every day. And as I saying that, I really got to know what I'm good at, because in school I didn't really get that opportunity though. So when I entered engineering, there were a bunch of aptitude tests, and I came up ranked one in one of the competition that was called Conundrum. So I'm like, okay, I'm good at aptitude.
Exactly.
That was also one of the things that guided me towards my journey to MBA. Like, okay, I can do this if I can come, rank one in first year. Maybe in 3-4 years I can hone this skill even better. So I think those 4 years are still very well edged in my memory. We loved the biryani at engineering.
The central canteen, right? In the engineering canteen.
In those days, I think it was $15. $15 a plate.
It has gone to 50, 40, 50.
Yeah, and then every now and then we'll go down to Al Baik for shawarma, which
at definitely.
that point was a very small, like it was just a very small kiosk, nothing else.
Right.
Then in those days, this Castro Cafe came up next.
Castro Cafe is where the rich kids eat nowadays.
Yeah, so back then we started going that, and then again, because there were things happening with different festivals, we organized festivals, we got different rock bands to Jamia, we got to know what it takes to organize a big fest, a small fest, an engineering level fest. Algorithm, I was one of the key organizers for Algorithm for the 4 years. Encomium for IEEE, I think it's called Encomium. So I organized food stall for them and bunch of different events. So the calendar was always packed. We were going to different colleges and all that. So while doing all this, I realized that I like doing thing. I like organizing thing. I'm good with people. I'm good with numbers. So MBA, popped up as one of those things where I can actually bring these two things together, where I'm good at numbers and good at getting work done through others, with others, and managing people. So I wanted to do that. So that was like another push towards in that direction. And to be honest, the cracking CAT was more of a journey, enjoying the journey more, or the process more than the actual event, because I did not know anyone who had done MBA in my family, in my friend circle, or any of the seniors. So there was no role model as such. We didn't even know what an MBA does. Right. But I really enjoyed the process of like learning, of trying to crack different aptitude problems and quant problems and the English language problem, reading different varieties of novels and literature and going through the newspaper. So I really enjoyed the journey more than the end result, but of course end result was brilliant and fantastic as well.
Definitely.
So yeah, I think that's how I would define my journey. And yeah, if you have any specific questions from their end.
Specific questions की तो list है मेरे पास.
Okay.
But now I'll be going off topic since you mentioned some very good things. पहली चीज तो शारिक भाई, इतनी सारी चीजें आपने कर ली हैं.
Yeah.
सबसे कॉमन सवाल, पढ़ाई का टाइम कहाँ से निकलता है? How do you squeeze that time for studies? Managing your grades as a middle class person, you're a middle class student. If a person is there and he's always preoccupied by the thought कि grades down हो जाएंगे, तो it may affect down the line, and he also wants to pursue all these things. तो वो कैसे manage किया जाए?
So I'll be very honest. I think I was a very I wouldn't call I was like slightly above average. My CPI was around 8 when my classmates and some of my best friends were hovering around 9.8, 9.7. So I think taking part in different activities actually take a hit on your grade. Right. And I think there was a culture back then, and I believe there would be a culture now as well, that people consider themselves to be cool if they're not studying, and they're like, grade se fark nahi padta, Mark Zuckerberg bhi drop out tha, and Bill Gates bhi drop out tha, so we don't need to study. But I think that is a wrong attitude. It's very important to inculcate from very early in life that whatever you do have consequences. If you and you need to be ready for those consequences. If I'm spending 4 years just organizing fest and not studying and getting a 5 CPI and not knowing my subjects, and then you don't get a good job, then you were responsible, you knew what you're doing in life, and it is just consequences of what you do. And what I'm saying does not hold true for everyone. Of course, there could be a lot of mitigating factors, but mostly the people who put in more hours got better marks. The people who put fewer hours, including myself, they didn't get that many grades. But at the same time, I think one of the greatest examples I have is that some of my friends who I'm talking about, who were 9.5, 9.8, went on to do masters from Ivy League, work for some of the biggest corporates in the world. They were also equally part of the fest that I'm talking about. They also organize algorithm. They also organize encomium. So I think it's all about prioritizing, and it's all about picking and choosing what you want to do. I think these two festivals take probably 2 months of your annual calendar. You can still have 10 months to do what you're supposed to do in engineering. And I think whatever you learn, even if you're not back in that field, it will always help you. It will always help you. If you, I'm going to talk about something completely tangential. Some of the things that I studied in history, I could relate during my travels, and even when I was working in the US, that why this is like this. Right. So whatever you learn, if you're good at coding, you'll have a very good analytical bent of mind. A lot of things that you learn in engineering, be it numerical skills, a lot of programming skill, how operating system works, it just opens up your mind. So what I could, if I could, one advice on ACATS is that that is your priority. Make sure that you learn, even if you're not getting a 9.8, 9. Learn do what you're supposed to do, and I think you would still have a lot more time to do a lot of fun activities, a lot of extracurricular activities. And if you think that you are not getting time to do what you want to do, right, for 15 years into corporate, you'll not get time to spend with your family in some of the cases.
I'll come to that question as well regarding the corporate life. But again, coming back to the very, very age-old question, I would say, engineering ke baad hi MBA kyun? This is a very trend, samajh lijiye. Was it the trend at that time ki chalo yaar ye MBA chal raha hai?
And I think I'll go back to the same thing. The reason a lot of kids pick up engineering and medicine is that MBA does provide a sort of financial stability. Right. That is one of the, and it changes the trajectory of your career right away. So a lot of, and I'm being honest, I don't want to build any castle in the air sort of a situation, that all these kids who are 18, 19, 20 going to career launcher, they want to be CEO, or they even know what a CEO does. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these kids come from different background, but at least I did not know it. A lot of people who went to career launcher and IIMs and time, they did not know what a CEO does or what a manager in business does. I think it's provide a sort of stability that you can go on and then do what you want to do in life, and that is why you see a lot of authors who have come out who are MBA from all these colleges. I have a very I wouldn't say close, but I would say a dear senior from IIM Calcutta. We don't talk, but I follow her on Instagram and Twitter and all those places. And she's a stand-up comedian, and
Whoa.
she's writing ghost stories these days. So I think doing MBA does provide a sort of financial stability to go. And I'm just talking about very few people. You can look up this guy called Malli Mastan Babu. He was my alumnus, and he went on to scale all the 7 highest peaks in the world in 7 different continents. So he's part of Guinness Book of World Record. Unfortunately, he lost his life in one of those expeditions. But
that's
and then I know people who are stand-up comedians. I know people who are authors. I know people who are full-time travelers and artists and movie makers and all those things. But I think what MBA does is that it gives you a sort of financial stability to actually go on and do what you want to do in life. And even if you are continuing with corporate, which I think 90 to 95% of people still do, your life does go into a completely different trajectory in terms of the kind of work you do, in terms of money you earn. So I think that thought is there, and in my time also, it was a very prevalent discussion all around that you cannot continue just being a engineer. You need to go and do MS/MTech, or you go do an MBA. So that's how our seniors also conditioned us, and I think they were right. They were very honest in what they were saying. But I had decided that whatever I do, I wanted to do it from the best colleges that are around. If I wanted to do MS, I wanted to do it from the best college. If I wanted to do MBA, I wanted to do it from the best colleges that are there. But as I said, that I had inclination towards like people and management, right? For management, essentially. So that's why I opted for MBA, and I ended up being at one of the best places to be.
Right. Great. Perfect. Now, coming to another question that I'm 100%, 1000% sure that you have had to answer this a lot of times. But how does it feel to be amongst the sharpest minds in the country when you were studying in IIM Calcutta? How was your experience there? How does it feel overwhelming initially to be there?
For sure it does, especially, so there are multiple aspects to that. So if you end up in some of these colleges, even the teachers who are standing in that room with you are sort of celebrities in their respective fields. Right. They have authored some of the best papers that are there. Their books are, students all across India and even outside India are taught. People from different part of the world come during exchange programs to study those particular courses from these professors. So just being in presence of these giants of their field is overwhelming. And then the people that you actually study with, some of these people are coming from IITs and Singapore University and a lot of different backgrounds they have done. And especially the people who come with WorkX, a lot of them had like really interesting, exciting WorkX. And when you looked at, I was 21 when I got into, IIMs, and these people had already seen the world and, conquered the world in some ways. And it whatever you do in life, it oozes out from you. Like you can see the body language, how they talk. And I was definitely overwhelmed in first couple of semesters. And that actually showed in, my grades and everything. But then you have to have that self-belief that if I'm here for a reason, that the process was stringent. You had to go through, interviews and GD apart from the CAT itself. So you have to bring that belief. And I think once you spend time there and you are able to talk to these people and you realize they're also just like you, they also have their insecurities, they also have their dreams. They want, even for them, MBA is a, stepping stone in their journey where they want to be. Some of them are as clueless as you are. So then it takes some time to get used to being, and these people are very sharp, very intelligent, very smart. So so it's fun, it's exciting, and it's challenging also. And just being with them, you realize that you are also like them, you are there for a reason, and then you have to have that belief. So it comes slowly. But yes, to answer your question, yes, it was overwhelming, when you join that. And the flip side of it is that back home, you're sort of a celebrity, because
obviously you're in IIM Calcutta, right?
Yeah, the neighbors are like, Bhaiya went to IIM Calcutta. So that's the fun part of it. So yeah, it's a great experience, great journey.
I can already tell that it was an awesome journey by the way that you answer your questions. So it really makes me glad that I am having this session with you. So as you mentioned earlier that you mentioned what role Jamia has played, but similarly, if you could sum up in two or three lines, what role has IIM Calcutta played in your journey, despite the fact that MBA and a backup plan, etc., as it provides a a good safety net when you are doing an MBA from an IIM. But what role for Sharique Chishti has it played apart from the professional life?
It gives you a confidence that is unparalleled. That as I said, that I wanted to do it from the best college, whatever I do. So that at certain point in time, you were one of the best people there were. Right. And so yeah, I think that confidence is unparalleled. Even today, people say that after 10 years, 20 years, it does not matter where you studied and what you have done in corporate matters, which I agree. But even now, when people ask, where are you from? Where did you do your MBA? And when you say, I'm Cal, so your respect or they provide a sort of respect that they were not doing till then. Right. So I think that brand is a lifelong brand, whatever people might want to say. But I think that is a lifelong brand that stays with you. And I think professionally also, it was a big step up for me. A lot of things that I was able to do in my professional career was because of IIM Cal. It would have been a completely different trajectory if I would have gone to a different college or if I had continued without an MBA, for instance. So I think I would attribute a lot of what I am or what I ended up doing in life to those 2 years in IIM Cal.
Okay, so this is a tricky one. Okay, all right. So we see people jumping on trends, right? For example, I remember when I was a kid, I used to hear, okay, the MBA trend is going on. Everyone you see is doing an MBA. And for example, right now, the situation has come to computer science. Everyone is into coding, etc. But that is the demand of the market and as the technology grows. But my question being, does jumping on trends help initially or later, or does it not, or you land yourself in trouble? What would be the answer to that?
I think going back to what I said, that one needs to know that whatever you do in life will have consequences. So you have to be very intentional about whatever decision, whatever choices you are making in life. So all the choices that you have taken in your life till now have led you to be in the position that you are in right now. And that holds true for me now as well. So whatever decision you take from now on will decide wherever you are 10 years from now. So do you want that person that you're going to be 10 years from now to be decided by what your neighbor was doing or the guy sitting next to you was doing?
Right.
So
right. Absolutely correct.
It is very important that a lot of these, poet philosophers have mentioned that this is one life that you have got, make the most of it. And I think that is true. That has been true for, thousands of years. That is true even now. It is good to look at what is happening all around you. You cannot be living into a, in a cupboard or in a room. You have to go out, see what the world is doing. Look at what those trends are. I mean, if a trend is that everyone is becoming fit, yeah, why not? I'm gonna run and become fit and go to the gym. But for long term career choices, I would say that don't make a mistake of doing what everyone else is doing. Just look around what people are doing, why people are doing. Is it the right choice for you as well? Because what the other person is doing might also be because of some other reasons. Maybe he has a bigger elder brother in his house who keeps pestering him to take up, coding or take up MBA, and you don't know about that journey. So you don't want to be in a situation 10 years from now that you ended up doing MBA, but you thought that you would have been better if you had done MS. Right. So there are trends all the time. Trends keep changing. Look at the trend. If they're helpful for you, take them up. But otherwise, do what you feel is you. Like, everything has to be very intentional. The decisions that you are taking now will influence who you are going to be 10 years from now. So just imagine if I had ended up doing MS, it would have been a completely
different story.
Yeah, not better or worse, but a completely different story. So you don't want to go on a different journey just because someone else was doing something.
Right, great. Any particular incident at IIM or Jamia that you remember or that taught you a lesson? Any particular incident that you would wish to share with us?
So this was an embarrassing situation.
No, it's totally on you whether you want to share it. It's totally on you.
No, I'll do it because I want to be honest, and I think I've already. So the learning that I got from that incident is something that I've already shared. So when I joined IIM, I told you I was 21 years old. So, and I have people who were 3 years, 4 years of work all around me. Right. So it was very easy to be impressioned by whatever they were doing. So there was a huge culture of people marking proxy. So we did not have a roll call. We just had a piece of paper. You would pass it on, you will sign, and then that would count as your attendance. So everyone was doing it, and I ended up doing that as well. And then those were there as part of some records that could be dug up years later. And then second year, this thing became such a huge thing that there were steps that needed to be taken. The discipline needed to be maintained. So all those proxies were dug up, and for every proxy that I had marked, I got a great drop.
Whoa. So anyone listening, please don't do this when you get into IIM. Please don't do this anywhere.
Yes, and I think you don't need to do it anywhere. I think you have to be truthful to yourself. So that's what I'm saying. So that's where I learned that whatever you do, you need to be responsible for it. You need to own it up. It can come to bite you back. And that is what I'm saying to people as well. You are in second year of engineering. You think Jamia engineering is great. There is a lot of stuff going on. The teachers are stupid. I don't need to study. I'm a genius. Right. And then you end of year 3 with a 6.5, 6.8, 7 percentile, which I'm saying is not bad or good, but that will have an impact how someone who's looking at your resume.
The future employer will look at you.
Even for me, it's a very easy way. If I need to recruit someone, I have a 9.1 and I have a 6.1. I would be lazy.
I'd like to interrupt you on this one, because my father almost, I had a discussion with him. Pap, Daddy, please tell me कि marks important है या knowledge important है या degree important. वो बच्चे करते हैं. It's prevalent anywhere. Students do this everywhere, right? So he told me a very, very fine line. He said, the grade card will let you to the door of the interview. Okay, your skills will open the door for you. But to walk, तो उस दरवाजे तक जाना, वो तुम्हारे पहुंचाना, वो ग्रेड कार्ड का काम है तुम्हारा. उसके अंदर वॉक करना, वो तुम्हारी skills है. So that really had a very big impact. So that's why.
I think that also, just I would want to add to what your father said, and that also holds true for all these degrees that you're getting. Even if you get to an IIM, it will get you an interview, but after that you have to track those interviews. So I completely agree with what your father has said. And just to add to it, if you have knowledge, it will reflect in your grade card. It might be 10% up and down, one grade here and there, but it is more or less reflective of the learnings that you have done in those 3-4 years.
Right. Because I had a similar talk in the last episode with Professor Abid Alim sir. He also said that degree हम अपनी खुशी से करते हैं. डिग्री करनी है, उसके अलावा जो स्किल्स आपको चाहिए वो भी आपको अपने आप ही बनानी पड़ेंगी. Because you chose this degree and you have to, move ahead. If you are stagnant, then you're gone. So that was also one learning lesson. So anyone watching, please watch the episode 1. Right. So coming back to the topic. This is a very, what should I say? Again, a very, 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 very popular question. How many CEOs do you know of famous companies? Who have been your
Uh,
wingmates, batchmates, alumni? How many people are you in contact with?
I
As you
think
just said,
there are a lot of alumni and people who are junior to me are also doing very well and leading some of the well-known organizations. But I
right,
think
right,
the one name that I always take is Shri Harsha Majeti, who is the founder CEO of
okay,
Swiggy.
okay,
He was my wingmate. My room number was 407. He was, I think, 419. So yeah, I knew him very, very well. I think he would remember me as well.
oh,
But
great.
I think
I hope this podcast gets famous. You never know.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
might call him.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I know him very, very well. So he was my wingy. We call them wingy.
Yeah. तो
Yeah.
अब इसी पे मैं थोड़ा और अंदर जाके सवाल ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि let's talk about the person who built Swiggy. मतलब how was he, when you looked at him, normal person, मतलब inclined towards something or completely different mindset? What's the thought process that goes into those people's mind when they're building something, or when they are present in the institute? Like, how are they different?
Again, I would come to say that they are not.
Right, great,
They're
right,
like just you and me,
right,
confused, don't know what to do in life. Different circumstances happen. Sometimes, you get lucky. I'm not taking anything away from him, but what I'm trying to say is that they are just like us. To take his example, I think if I remember correctly, he was big time into photography during campus. He wanted to start a photography workshop or something of that sort. He ended up going to an iBank, quit his job, traveled for a year or so. He traveled like the Che Guevara Trail in South America, cycled from Lisbon to Istanbul, did some part
oh,
of Central Asia, came back, started one startup. It didn't work out, I think, and then he started Swiggy, and then it's, I don't know, a $10 billion organization right now. So what I'm trying to say is that these people, like, they didn't know in campus that they are going to build such a big, enterprise. They wanted to do something in photography, so that means just like us, they didn't know what they are going to end up doing. Just like us, they wanted to travel the world, quit his job, got to travel. His first startup didn't work out. It could have happened to the second one as well, but then they pursued what they wanted to do. They believed in what they were trying to do, and I think that that's a great learning for anyone who's listening to that podcast, that
yeah,
these people are not different at all. They just are passionate about what they want to build, and yeah, they persevere with it. Like
great.
people could have
मतलब
gone back after
these
first
these
startup.
these I'm not sure, even I'm confused whether this podcast works out or not, but I'm very, very damn sure that I'll be wiser after this, at least
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah.
after talking to so many people. I'm really happy that this is happening right now.
No, I know it's going
Jamia Millia
great.
Islamia's first podcast, everyone, Decoding with Nihal. Please tune in. Right. So now this is a very technical question. It's fine, no matter how precise you want it to be, or how long you want it to be. But this is a very technical question, and that is, what would be a structured plan for an MBA aspirant? When and where should they start? The resources to use. Time has been very different now that the resources available are completely different than at the time that you prepared. So tell us about your preparation and how did you do it? Like, if you could.
I think so. The best time to start is now. Be it you are in first year, be it you are in second year, third year, fourth year, wherever
Right.
you are. I think the best time to start is right now. And I think the best part about MBA is that the journey itself is very, very fulfilling. I always say that there are three aspects that you need to be very aware of when you go for MBA, and those three aspects you should always be aware of. One is know yourself. That is, I think, the first thing. What are your
Right.
strengths? What are your weaknesses? Why are you doing MBA? What do you want to do after MBA? How does MBA fit in your journey to where you want to be? Know stuff around you, know the world around you, know why Russia is invading Ukraine. You need to know why India is standing with Russia. You need to know what is happening in environmentally, why everything is
Right.
so getting warm. You need to know why one party is winning the election, why is the other party not winning the election. You can't be an ostrich. You need to be aware of the world, because 2 years after MBA, this is the world that you're going to be entering, and you need to understand it socially, economically, politically, every way. You need to be aware of it, and that holds true for even otherwise. Even if you don't do MBA, you need to be aware of all these things. And the third thing that I say, that know what you're doing. Like if you are studying operating system, know what operating system is. If in MBA I ask you, or MBA interview, if I ask you a question about operating system, you need to be able to answer that. So that would give me an idea that you are very, very diligent with that. So I think these three aspects you can start right away, knowing yourself better. And that also means knowing yourself better is that when I ask you what are your hobbies, if you say, then you need to be able to answer questions on what do you like reading, what did you learn from them, who's your favorite author. Similarly, if you like to watch movies, I just want to know that are you passionate about what you're doing, how committed you are to what you're doing, even if it is in in your hobbies. So know yourself, know the world around you, know what you're doing, be good at what you're doing. So these three things will help you sail through any interview that you will encounter in MBA prep or during MBA entrance. Now, if we talk about CAT, I think 6 to 8 months of very good, intense preparation is good enough.
Right.
And I think the maths part, the aptitude part is something you can just learn the tricks and practice, and then you'll get better at it. The language part, the English part, it takes slightly longer. So for that, again, the right time to start is right now. Start reading, all these newspapers and different books about the world, so that you are, first of all, your knowledge about the world will increase, and you will also get to know about different reading styles when reading comprehension is there. So certain vocabulary are very specific to economics, certain vocabulary is specific to psychology or physiology. So, start reading books, articles, editorials about varied subjects. So I think these four you can start right now. The aptitude part, I think it's 6 to 8 months of intense preparation will help you sail through.
Right. Great. So that's MBA preparation in a nutshell. If that's, we'll have a proper video some other time, but that's in a nutshell, that's all about MBA. Right. Another question is, MBA from India, is it worth it, or should you be applying for an MBA outside the country? And how are the things different? The level of study or whatsoever, exposure, people call it. Yeah. So if you could differentiate.
That's a question that you need to ask what you want to do in life. I think there are always exceptions, like 15-20% of the people will always be exception. But if you do an MBA from India, it is likely that you will work in India. If you do an MBA from abroad, it is likely that you'll stay and continue working abroad. And as I said, there are exceptions. I also ended up going to US for 4 years, and then I decided to come back, but that's a different thing. So I'm saying that I myself is an exception. But if you are very sure that you want to study abroad and you want to settle abroad, then I would suggest do an MBA from outside India. From what I gather, those MBAs are very, very expensive. So be aware of that as well. Another thing is that, unlike in India, doing MBA, the people who do MBA outside India are very, very conscious about their choices. So the average intake age is very different. There are people they have a longer experience, very diverse experience. So I think people wait till 28, 30, 32 to actually go for an MBA. They do MBA when they actually feel that this is going to help, change or step up their career. Unlike in India, where we are just, joining after engineering. So I think the people that you will meet will be much more mature, much more diverse. If you end up going to some of the best colleges that are there for MBA across the world, in the US, in Europe, I think the people you will meet will be, some of the best people from across the world, from Pakistan and Japan and China and, Latin America. And of course, wherever you are studying, like it's in the US or Europe. So I think the exposure and the learning will be completely different. And I think the trajectory that you will take will also be very different. But I think that is, again, a very conscious choice that you need to make. Do you want to go abroad forever or not?
Again, it depends on the circumstances, as you said.
Yes.
Right. So also another question, MBA right after your undergraduate, or should you take 2 years of experience, let's say, and then do an MBA? Which one is better?
So again, the question is, why do you want to do MBA?
Right.
So that question will also answer this question: are you doing because why do you want to take 2 years of time if you really want to do MBA? Are you trying to figure out, do I need MBA or not?
Yeah.
Then I think you can wait 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, figure out, do you want to do MBA, or do you want to do MS, or do you want to do MTech, or do you want to do PhD in whatever you studied? But if you're sure that you want to do MBA, like that is decided, that is written in your destiny, then go ahead, do it right now.
I'm really glad that you brought this up, and I had this question next in line. The fact that people don't take a moment and think about the things that they want to do. And then, relating it with the question that I asked earlier regarding the trends, we jump. We don't take a step back and think about it. For example, I'll tell you, if I may, that when I got into engineering, the first thing that came into my mind was let's go for GATE. I have just joined college the first day. I'm all pumped up. Let's go for GATE, and we'll get into MTech, etc. But as the days went on, I realized, Nihal, please take a step back and ask yourself, why do you need GATE? Do you want to do MTech? That's why you are doing GATE. Do you want to get into PSUs? That's why you are doing GATE. Why are you doing GATE? And why are you creating this narrow mindset, this narrow horizon that sirf GATE hi hai mere paas opportunity? Why are you not looking at, these are the years that you should be actually exploring? So coming back to the question, that people don't take a step back and analyze things, that why do I want to do this? So again, what's the treatment for them? What's the let's say, what's the advice for them, that please take a moment back and really think about the choices that you're taking in life? What would your take be?
I think I've touched this topic a little bit in last half an hour that we have been together. Is that this is your life. You don't want to be living someone else's life. You don't want to be making wrong choices just because you and everyone else was doing something, because you are responsible for the choices that you make, and it will have consequences later on in your life. So these are big decisions in life. Just step back, and it's not only true about just MBA or MS or MTech or anything. This is true for everything. Do you want to organize algorithm or part of CSI just because everyone else is doing? No, you shouldn't be. Does it really excite you? Maybe not. Maybe you are a person who would not be part of algorithm. You would rather go back home and pick up a literary book and read through it. Maybe you are a person who wants to become a musician and learn electric guitar or piano or tabla or sitar. Or maybe you are someone who just wants to go and watch movies rather than being part of algorithm. So I'm just saying that even these small things and large things like MBA and MTech, one needs to step back. And I think it goes back to the point that I was saying, the 3 things that you need to be always aware of. And it's not only for MBA, it's for life. If anyone can follow that, they will be in a much better situation in life. Is that to know yourself. What do you really want to do? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What you really want to do? Is some working on a problem, that a programming problem is your strength, and that is what you want to do for the rest of your life? Then why are you doing MBA? And then if you're a person who wants to get into management, then you should move your trajectory in that direction. Or if you're a person who has that inclination of maybe doing some sort of research, you want to write research paper, you want to do different types of discoveries and all that, then you should go on and do PhD. So being stuck in the wrong jobs for the rest of your life is not a fun thing to be. And I think in India, it's very difficult to change your careers. Abroad, it is still possible. I know people who change their careers multiple times. So I think the only advice that I can give is that sit down. You have a lot of time. Don't worry if someone else is doing something. Don't know their journey, where they're coming from, where they are going. Maybe they have a parent who was, MBA, or you don't know anything about them, to be honest. So it is your journey. You know yourself best. And if you don't, sit down with yourself, try to figure out who you are, what you want to do in life, why do you want to do in life. So what and why are the most important question. How you will figure out.
I'll make you work on this. I'll ask you a lot of questions off camera regarding the same fact. Okay, so we'll get back to that. And now coming to a very, very interesting question that I almost at times find myself amused, is the fact that when we talk about communication skills, the mind directly, let's say it has been conditioned to seek that when a person talks about communication skills, it means English. as in English language. But I don't think communication skills equals English, because communication skills is the fact that how great or how easily are you able to put your ideas forth to make the other person understand. And it is that misconception कि English ही communication skills है. Most people feel left out. So what do you say? How important are communication skills, and why English and why not Hindi, or why Hindi and why not English?
I think you you answered it yourself. I think communication is about being able to communicate, and that is a two-way street. I know some people who speak the English in the perfect English. They speak perfect English, but they're a bad listener.
Right.
So are they good in communication? They are not. So communication is a two-way street. You are able to communicate your ideas to the other person in the best possible way, in the most concise manner, so that they are able to understand. And then you're also able to listen to what they're saying. And it's not about language. It's also about understanding what that person is trying to ask in that particular moment. And when you move on to in the corporate world, you'll realize that some people understand the task much faster than other people, even though the instruction is in the same language, even if it is in Hindi, in Urdu or English, your manager is speaking the same language to all of you, and one person understands that very, very quickly. So even the definition of communication changes from time and place. In some places, you need to be a good listener. In some places, you need to be a good speaker. In some places, it has to be a two-way street. In some places, it's not even about English. So if I'm in a programming job, I need to understand all those programming jargons, which I don't know anymore, unfortunately. So it depends on what you're doing. So it depends on time and place. So developing this is a much harder and a much rewarding skill than English, because English is just a mode of communication.
It's a medium.
This is what communication is skill.
Yeah.
Now coming back to your answer about English, fortunately or unfortunately, English has become the language of the business. It has become the language of everything. And I think again, making your English better is much easier than working on your
skills. Soft skills, right?
So soft skills, I think, focus on your soft skills. The kind of environment that we have in Jamia or Delhi, or with all the exposure that you have, I think English will follow. And I think the reason that one should work on their English is that if you're good at English, so many things open up for you, in terms of music, in terms of literature, in terms of cinema, in terms of knowledge. You can, if you like to read, you can read some of the world's best authors who don't get translated to Hindi. You can watch some of the best movies in the world. And that is beyond what is happening in corporate. So I think learning English, being good in English is very, very rewarding. But what you should work on is the soft skills of communication.
Great. Perfect answer, I would say. So now coming back to the question, you talked about the corporate life. So I want to know about the fact, about the concept of bad stress and good stress. If you could, students ke liye to stress, they have to manage it. But how does it differ on a scale when you get into corporate?
I think stress is when it start impacting you negatively, that is a bad stress. That is, I think, the definition how I would use. I don't know what is the technical definition of it, but some of the stress is good. It pushes you in the right direction to better yourself, to give out your best. They call it nervous energy, or a lot of different phrases are used. But some sort of, I wouldn't call it stress. I would just say that you want to be good at what you are doing. And you want to give your best. So as long as that is pushing you in the right direction, you're not losing your sleep over it, then that is good thing to have. But when it starts becoming, impacting your health, because humans are flight and fight mode. Whenever we are in stress, we activate our flight or fight module, but that is only for certain moments. But if you are living in that moment throughout the month, the week, the year, then
it becomes second nature.
Then that is not, then that is not good, and it has very, very negative impact on you in terms of your blood pressure. And there are some studies that even cancers are caused by that. I think, and that is something that you'll start realizing. I'll just give you an instance that there was a very intense period in corporate for me, and I started dreaming about work.
Oh.
And I didn't want to be in that situation. So what was happening is that I was on my phone till very late, maybe going through Instagram or Twitter, but then my mails were also popping up.
Right.
So then I started to, disengage. Now I keep my phone in a different room, and then I'm back to my vivid usual dreams and not work dreams.
Right. De-stressing. Right. Great.
Yeah.
So if someone misses out on doing MBA from IIMs, what are the options available to him or her?
Again, so first of all, did you really want to do an MBA? That is the first question one should ask.
Right.
Once you are beyond that question, there are a lot of good colleges in India as well. Beyond IIMs, there are FMS and XLRIs and MDIs of the world where you can go, and then these people are doing as good, or even better than the average population of IIM Cal. So don't be disheartened by a tag that you missed out on. That is number one. Number two is that continue with your career, what you're doing. Spend a year or two, try to figure out. I think take that as a bonus time to actually figure out what you wanted to do in life. Maybe 2 years working in corporate in India, you'll get to realize that you don't want to work in India,
Yeah.
And maybe you can start preparing for MBAs or MS abroad. Maybe you ended up liking your corporate so much that you want to continue in that. And then even after all of that, you still want to do, courses from MBA, courses from IIMs, and you are sure that you want to do management. There are a lot of courses, 1-year course for executive MBA from IIMs, which take into account the rich work experience you have gathered in last 3-4 years. And they also know that you can't spend 2 years of your life doing MBA. So they concise it to 1 year, and then that is as good. So I think there is nothing to be disheartened. I think go ahead with your corporate career, and again, take it as a bonus time to figure out what you want to do and keep preparing for CAT.
Perfect. I think that sums it all up. Just 2-3 questions remaining, and that's a very that is a trivial question, if I might say. Given a chance, what advice would you like to give someone watching this podcast? If you had you were given only a single chance to give a single advice, what would that be? As Sharique Chishti, as the person that you are,
I would say step back, know who you are, because that's the person you spend the most time with. And then decide what you want to do the best for this person that you just got to know.
Oh,
so great. That's what I would.
And apart from an advice, what message would you like to share to someone, anyone, if you could, just one message?
Don't forget to have fun. All
perfect.
But don't forget to have. Yeah.
Perfect. And I think that wraps it. Thank you, Sharique, for joining me today. And again, please let me know if there's anything I could do for you. And I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful that you could join me today.
No, thanks, Nihal. Thanks for having me.